Mr. Sandman, bring me a dream. Make him the cutest that I've ever seen.
Ow. Oh, for fuck's sake.
Mr. Sandman, bring me a dream. Make him the cutest that I've ever seen. Give him two lips like roses and clover.
Hello everyone, I'm Harry, you know the gist. If you want to watch any of my other Doctor Who series reviews, click on the corner now. This is my Series 9 review, etc, etc. Obviously Doctor Who Series 11 is starting on Sunday, so it means that I've got to get the whole of Series 10 watched by Sunday. Today is Wednesday, so I've got a few days to do it. Last Christmas, Nick Frost is a great comedic actor in my opinion, so it's great to see him in Doctor Who, and he's actually used to his full potential as well. A lot of actors are used in Doctor Who and they're not used to their full potential. Nick Frost in this was used very well. Really like the festive themed titles. I know a lot of people don't like it, but I think it makes it feel quite a bit dynamic. My only little gripe about it, and it's only a little one, why do they put Nick Frost's name after all the other names after Doctor Who? Like, why didn't they just put it, if they were going to put it in, why didn't they just put it after Jenna Coleman's name or something? They obviously took inspiration from Alien, and obviously they did sort of mention that at one point in the episode as well, which actually was a really funny bit. But I like the way they mixed that in with Christmas and Doctor Who. Two elves got really annoying, but it's not surprising because one of them is played by the same person that played Strax. The whole story was written really, really cleverly, and it had a lot of foreshadowing going on, so again, I'm going to give that to Stephen Moffat. It's nice how they mirrored the previous Christmas special with Time of the Doctor. You got an old Doctor who's being helped to pull his Christmas cracker by Clara. This time it's the other way around. You've got an old Clara being helped to pull Christmas cracker by the Doctor. The only thing I don't like about this story is the way Clara came back. It would have been a great end for her. I've said this before and I'll say it again. There was so many times where she could have left, but she didn't. To be honest though, it's a great story. It's probably my new favourite Christmas special. The Magician's Apprentice / The Witch's Familiar. It's interesting seeing the Thal-Khaled War before Davros was even in his chair. I really liked Missy's entrance. It felt quite classic, the way she came back. The idea of the Doctor dying has been done to death, and it just didn't work in this at all. I really, really liked the way Missy just killed like 2 people without a second thought. And she tried rubbing it in as well, saying that one guy had a family and all that, and it just adds to her craziness, and I really like that. I really don't like the Rocker Doctor. It came out of nowhere. I wouldn't have minded it if they had some development going on there, but there was none. It just came out of nowhere just like that, and there was no reason for it. There was definitely inspiration from the Daleks in some of the scenes in this, which I do like, and they work quite well. I really like the interactions between the Doctor and Davros. It worked really well, and the fact that they were playing each other as well really helps out when you think they pretty much fucking hate each other. So the fact that they were playing each other the whole time, I really like. I feel like Clara got on way too well with Missy, considering the fact that she killed Danny at the end of last series. The classic Daleks were very underused. I would have preferred it a lot more if they used them a lot more, but they were only really there for the background, and I didn't like that one bit. When Davros opened his eyes, I wouldn't have minded it, but when he opened them, they should have been like gangrene or something. They should have been really, really grim. Obviously, I'm not a fan of the sonic sunglasses. End of. I'm not a massive fan of the story. It's alright, I suppose, but my biggest gripe is the fact that the Daleks are in it, and once again they didn't bring anything new to the table. Under the Lake / Before the Flood. I really like how unique this story is, the fact that it starts out as a base under siege story set in the future. The second half of it is a time travel story set in the past, but the way they tied in so well together really worked. The ghosts actually looked really creepy. The cliffhanger at the end of Under the Lake was really well done. It felt very classic. I love the scene at the start of Before the Flood when the Doctor's explaining a bootstrap paradox. I never realised the guy in the top hat is the same species as that guy David Walliams played in The God Complex. The Fisher King looked very much like an 80s villain. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but it's 2015 that this came out. Surely they could have made it look a little bit better. The story was so cleverly written, and it was just such a great story. It's so underrated in general as well. And I really enjoyed it. It's probably one of my all-time favourites. The Girl Who Died, as stupid as it was when the Doctor was trying to convince those Vikings that he was Odin, it was really funny. But then when the real Odin showed up in the clouds, it looked very much like that son from Teletubbies. Ashildr really annoyed me. Maisie Williams isn't that much of a good actress in my opinion. She got overhyped a lot just because of the fact that she was in Game of Thrones. The Maya weren't very interesting villains. The Doctor obviously said that they were like really powerful. They didn't really show it. The way the Vikings and the Doctor defeated the Maya really showed off the Doctor's intelligence. The fact that the Doctor's face was a way of reminding himself that he can save people, I didn't like. It was a bit of a wasted explanation, in my opinion. Overall, it had its good points about it, but overall, the story was just shite. The Woman Who Lived. This story should have been swapped around with Sleep No More, in my opinion. It just felt too soon, and the Doctor seemed so surprised when he saw Ashildr, as if it had been years and years since he'd seen her. So the fact that we see her again in the next story just felt out of place and it didn't work at all. The voice Ashildr put on, the male voice, it was unnecessary and it just didn't work, and it was just a stupid idea in general. Rufus Hound was very underused. The lion monster thing was, once again for this series, he was very 80s looking. This was basically just a continuation of The Girl Who Died, which was a shit story in itself. So this one's shit enough as it is, but the fact that it's out of place makes it even worse. The Zygon Invasion / Zygon Inversion. I like the way they're essentially doing a sequel to The Day of the Doctor. There was a lot of unanswered questions in The Day of the Doctor, and this story answers them very nicely. I'm not too keen on the Dr. Disco and the Dr. Funkenstein stuff. If it was any other Doctor, I wouldn't have minded it, but it just doesn't suit 12 at all. They couldn't have made it more obvious that they were trying to get at Isis with this story. All the unit troops that fell for the Zygons' tricks were just fucking stupid. They were obviously pre-warned about what the Zygons were capable of, but they still ignored all that and thought, no. The question mark underpants was just a stupid idea, and it was just a stupid joke. Tell you what else is a stupid joke? The browser history one. The one that's done to death during the Moffat era, and it's not funny at all. I'm no biologist, but I'm pretty sure if someone's that much of a good liar, they can make sure their heartbeat doesn't change. The Doctor made me laugh when he said his first name was Basil. Again, it was just a throwaway line, but it was random and it was funny. Something I really like about this story is the fact that they give Osgood so much development and they made her character so much more likeable for me. I didn't care for her until this story, but then from this story, I do. It's just a shame we don't see her again. The Doctor's speech was heartbreaking, and to be honest, I feel like Peter Capaldi was the best actor possible to do that speech. I actually really enjoyed the story. I think it's really underrated, just like Under the Lake Before the Flood. It's very underrated. Obviously it has its issues, but every story has its issues and they don't outweigh the goodness of the story. Sleep No More. It's good that they tried something new, but the whole found footage thing just didn't work in the slightest. I know it's only a small thing, but I wish this story had a title sequence. It's the only story that hasn't got one, and it should. Every time I've tried to watch this story in the past, I've fallen asleep. This is the first time I've ever watched this story from start to finish whilst being awake. Did I enjoy it? No, I fucking didn't. The whole idea of the monsters made out of sleep dust was just shit. I don't know what part of that Mark Gatiss liked. Overall, the story was crap. Simple as that. Face the Raven. I love the Doctor's red velvet coat in this. It's also great seeing Wrigley back. I really enjoyed him in Flatline. I really enjoyed him in this. The bit where they were searching for the Trap Street was exciting, I'll admit, but when Clara was about to fall to her death from the TARDIS, she was enjoying it way too much. The whole story felt quite Harry Potter-esque to me. Why would Sontarans, but more so Cybermen, be searching for refuge on a street like this? Clara's death was wonderfully done. The way she tried so much to be like the Doctor and she became so arrogant, and that ended up being what killed her, and I think that is fantastic. Capaldi's acting for Clara's death was absolutely phenomenal. The ending was very dark and it set up Heaven Sent so well. It was a great story overall. Heaven Sent, for anything to be done with just one character, whether it's Doctor Who, whether it's anything else, the person playing that character has to be a phenomenal actor, which is why this story was perfect for the 12th Doctor. The dark tone we get from this story is great. I love the little synthy little bit of music we got just as the Doctor's looking at Clara's portrait. The Doctor imagining himself in his TARDIS to try and save his life is his own mind palace, which is obviously taken from Sherlock. Watching 12 investigate in the way he does is very interesting. The Shepherd's Boy scene was very well edited. The ending was so exciting as you finally get to go to Gallifrey, and the build-up was so cleverly done. If you're clever, you could have guessed what was going on. But that's the nice thing about it. What I really like about this story is the fact that it's really good, but not in the traditional way of good Doctor Who stories in the past. It wasn't necessarily exciting or action-packed, but it was very clever and very well acted, very well directed. In my opinion, it was a masterpiece. Hellbent, this wasn't a masterpiece. It was actually quite good for the first 10-15 minutes or so when the Doctor was going up against Rassilon. It was really exciting and you really want to see more of it, but they don't deliver on that. This was the perfect opportunity for them to really bring the Time Lords back. It's the thing that we've been waiting for since the show's revival in 2005. 10 years of build-up to this story, and it's a fuck-up. The Doctor punching that head of security and then shooting him, it was just so out of character for the 12th Doctor, for the Doctor in general. And when the General then said good luck to the Doctor when he was about to shoot him, what was going through his mind? Why would you say that to someone when they're about to shoot you for absolutely no reason whatsoever? And then after he regenerated into a woman, which is fair enough, you know, it's now established in the show that a Time Lord can do that. Why would Moffat then think it's a good idea to have the line, how do you cope with all that ego? It's sexist and it's not needed at all. And it's just something that Moffat does all the time. He's fucking sexist and he thinks he's funny while he's doing it, but he's fucking not at all. If someone else was writing that and it was a woman who regenerated into a man and the man said that after regenerating from the woman, no one would find that funny. But because it's a man into a woman, it's absolutely fine, and it's not. It fucking pisses me off. When Ashilda was suggesting that the Doctor was half human, again, why did Moffat think that was a good idea? The amount of hate the TV movie got because they implied that the Doctor was half human, why would Moffat then decide that the Doctor is half human? Why would he imply that himself when it came to so much hate in the 90s for that? It's just, I don't understand what goes on in Moffat's head sometimes. The Doctor forgetting Clara was a blatant rip-off of Journey's End. Ashilda and Clara stealing a TARDIS, running away in it, and the chameleon circuit got stuck and it got stuck as a diner. It's just stupid. Again, Clara coming back, I haven't even gone into that and I'm not going to go into it too much. All these things that Moffat's done in this story, it angers me. And I don't get angry that easily, but this really winds me up. The things he's doing in this, the sexism, the half-human stuff, the things that he knew people would hate, he does it anyway. And I feel like he does it on purpose just to wind people up. And then he gives you this classic TARDIS, which isn't accurate anyway, and he sort of shoves that on. It's like, you've got to be happy because that's there. And it's like he can get away with anything if he uses fan service, and it's not the way it works, and it fucking pisses me off. I'm glad he's gone. The story's crap. They should have focused on Gallifrey being back more. That's all I'm saying about this story. I'm never ever watching it again because it's that poor. The Husbands of River Song. So after Hellbent, I really didn't think I could cope with watching another crap Stephen Moffat story, but I managed it in this. River Song shouldn't have come back. Her story was finished during the Matt Smith era. She had there was no need for her to come back in this. Once again, they wasted another great actor with Greg Davis. Alex Kingston's acting was very over the top throughout the whole story. I've got nothing against Alex Kingston as an actress, but in this story, it was pretty crap. Most of the funny moments weren't funny. So you've seen how angry I got with Moffat using sexism against men in Hellbent. Well, he's fucking done it again in this story when River says something like, "Oh, you're thinking, but you're a man. It looks weird." Why? Well, I do not understand. The Shoal, or however you pronounce it, they were very interesting monsters. They were pretty creative, to be honest, the way they just sort of move the head like that and it opens and they've got like a pocket inside the head. The scene on Darillium was just shit. I can see what they're going for with trying to make it clever. It wasn't clever. I suppose it worked, but it wasn't as clever as they probably wanted it to be. My issue with the Doctor and River in this story is the fact that they didn't really have much chemistry. During the Matt Smith era, River showed up a lot and she annoyed me, but at least 11 and River had chemistry. 12 and River don't, and that's also one of the things that contributes to this story being shite. Overall, Series 9 was pretty shit. Obviously it had quite a few good stories, I suppose. Under the Lake Before the Flood, Zygon 2-parter, Face the Raven, and Heaven Sent. So 4 stories out of the 11 were good, the rest were shite. If you enjoyed the review, leave it a like, subscribe to my channel if you're new, follow all my social medias, they're all linked in the description below. Make sure you keep your eyes peeled for my Series 10 review, which should be out by the time Series 11 starts. See you later.